Okay, so Blaster Master, it should be considered one of the best NES games ever, but there's a severe flaw. Um, as you back in the day when your Atari games maybe been like one screen or whatever, there wasn't much. There's games like Indiana Jones, I guess Yours Revenge, that you could actually play through and beat, and so you could back when NES came out. There was this trend to make games that had, beginnings and ends and stuff. It wasn't about the high score. But the problem was, it's early on in, this whole thing. So they're kind of figuring out, like, what is a big and long game? Blaster Master is a big, long game. But the problem is, there's no password or save point in a game that's like 7 or 8 hours long. Well, I don't know exactly how long it is to beat. That's how long it's going to take if you don't die and if trying to figure out how this freaking giant world. But there's no password, there's no save point, so it's like you got to go through and play the shit out of it, and you got to leave your NES on overnight, and so while it should be considered like a masterpiece, and a lot of people will still say it is, that big problem of you got to leave your Nintendo on, or it's like just where the fuck do I go game, and it takes forever. An NES standards anyway. It's so big and it's so awesome. But let me not talk about so much the flaws, because eventually you're just that asshole who just leaves the Nintendo on. Can't no one play nothing. I gotta save my Blaster Master progress. Anyway, the real key feature of this game is it got 2 modes of gameplay. So you have right here, which is the tank sequence. Which is a 2D scrolly. Your tanky's kind of floaty. It gets lots of power-ups and stuff and upgrades as you play through. And you can shoot in all the directions. It feels real good. Once you're used to the kind of like the little floatiness of the tank. Lots of power-ups and cool stuff like that too. But it also has like this mode. It's like a somewhat similar to Legend of Zelda, where you're like a big chibi looking guy, and you're going up and down in like a bird's eye view type thing, and you're just blasting shit. You are the master blasting it all, and you shoot a hell of a lot in this game. And so it's kind of, and you would go through rooms and shit, and you're trying to find the boss or the next power up you need to go to where you need to go. Tons and tons of optional areas, like areas you don't even really need to go. They're kind of, well, they won't necessarily be a waste of time, because there may be power-ups or something that you can get in there to boost your character up. But, you need to go through and play the game over and over and over again until you find, what you need to do. And then you need to remember, okay, I'm at level, I might have to start over, because there's limited continues, which is a real problem. So you're, I don't know exactly how many men you get, but you eventually will run out of continues. That game the fuck over. It's like, oh, well, I just spent 5 hours getting to level 5. I said, well, I will do it again. And so you have to just play it over and over again. Start at level 1, go, figure out all the shit you need to do for several hours to get back to where you are. And hopefully you haven't died very much, because if you get back to where you need to be to finally make new progress, and you've only got 2 men, you're kind of fucked, dude. You're kind of screwed. And that's kind of the big flaw of the game. But even then, the game itself is so good, it's so fun. You just keep doing it, man. You just gotta keep doing it. You gotta keep playing the shit out of it. Kind of like Bionic Commando. You keep doing it over and over again, and eventually you're pretty fast and pretty good, and you can keep going. There's a little trick that I did not know as a kid. When you're in your player mode, when you're in the rooms looking for shit, if you just press the grenade button, which is A, and you hold it down, you will actually start strafing. And so you could stay pointed in one direction and shoot. That is so damn useful in the bosses, because they're basically usually at the top of the screen, and they're just shooting shit down at you. And like, in order to dodge the shit, you need to move left and right while shooting up at it. It's like, if you can't really figure out the strafing mechanic, it's like you're at an extreme disadvantage. Another big problem with this game is that, well, it isn't a problem. As you go and get power-ups, your shots start changing, and they get a shit ton stronger. And you find you're just shooting at this like super badass like wave rainbow beam thing that like takes up this huge part of area, and it's like so awesome when you get this shit. But the problem is you take damage, you actually will lose that power up, and it takes a long time to build up. I think it has 8 levels, so you have to go through rooms like this right here and look for gun upgrades, and then hopefully you're not taking a lot of damage. But the guns have these weird properties. So like when I cannot remember exactly where it is, when you're in like 3 or 4, like you'll shoot out a 3 shot, but they're like these your 2 shots that are wide will do like this little spinny shit. And so half the time they end up hitting the wall. And so, and while you're in that 3rd or 4th tier weapon, your effective gun is only that 1 shot that you're shooting out, because the other 2 just do stupid shit. And so it's actually weaker than having like just like a level 2 or whatever, where you can just shoot multiple shots. They just go off this. There's a long shot to go off the screen. And so like where you are at as far as where your gun power is has a huge effect on your down level. And so you might be in a situation where if you've done got hit a couple of times and your gun sucks ass now, it's like almost you want to take more hits so you can get down to level 2. And so there's some balance problems there. And I've never played much of it, but I know that Fester's Quest is actually just this mode right here, but it's like the entire game, and it has the same gun problems. It's like you might have a gun that just all of a sudden starts sucking. But thankfully, you still have the grenade, but it's more of a point-blank range weapon. One of the things that I use, it's a glitch, it's an exploit. I wouldn't say it's a cheat, so I use the fuck out of it. Is that you can just at certain bosses, you can just shoot them ass with a grenade, and you can hold start, and the grenade just keeps damaging them. It's some shit like Mega Man 2, where you can just kind of press start over and over again, and Mega Man becomes invincible. It's the hell of a glitch, but I mean, I use it, man, because the game's rough without it. It's real rough. And here you can see some of the problems I have when the guns are bizarrely powered up. You see how hard it is to just shoot shit point blank in range in front of you. But you just you got to learn to work with the quirkiness of this game, and just if you play the crap out of it, you eventually you feel so powerful when it's like that strong right there. You see how strong that shit is? The whole fucking you are the master of blasting. So even with the limited continues, punishing as fuck limited continues, even with the no password or battery save, we're still gonna give this 2 paws up. Brian, he loves blasting it up. And then Kitty's the master. Okay, we're getting real sad on our cat reviews, but that's where we've dropped down to. I don't know if this runs to actually on the copy. It's probably expensive, although this was a common game, and it's one of them probably the most common what was it called, Sunsoft games, but it belongs in your NES collection. Make sure you got it, and at least play through level 1 and maybe level 2. To go through the whole game is some real shit, but yeah, give this game a run.